Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to MindShifters Radio with your co-host, the For-giveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie. Michael and Jeanie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Ar-amaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Ar-amaic, Rahma. Michael is the author of Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-hosts, the For-giveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeanie Ryce. And the truth that is rooted within me.
Hi, and welcome to MindShifters Radio with the For-giveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce. I'm in Tennessee, and Michael's in Illinois, and so it's amazing what technology allows us to do, even from this distance. We want to welcome everybody here. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169. Please call in with your questions. And today is day 87 of our Memorial Day celebration. Welcome, Michael and Tim.
Since Memorial Day. And for those who are new to the show, you might wonder what we're talking about celebrating Memorial Day for, 87 days later. And what we decided on Memorial Day was that we would honor those who have been murdered in war, been forced to murder in war, who've been maimed, who've been injured, who've been traumatized, brought those traumas home to their loved ones, to their neighbors, to their coworkers and friends. And what we're working to do is to remove the cause of war. And people would say, well, gee, how could you possibly do that? Well, here's how you do it. You look at every form of hostility or fear that you hold in your mind, and you pick one, just one, a small issue, a big issue, it doesn't matter what it is. Just pick one each day. Today we're going to invite you to take one situation where you have some form of hostility or fear and choose to forgive that hostility or fear. That is, to remove that hostility or fear from your mind. And as you remove that hostility or fear from your mind, you will be removing a portion of the cause of war. War is about the hostility and fear that happens inside of us. It's not about others, it's about ourselves. And if you're not familiar with the forgiveness conversation that we're offering, the word forgive in Ar-amaic has absolutely nothing to do with letting somebody else off the hook because you have some form of pain or trauma in you. The word forgive is the tool with which you change the root and the source of your pain or trauma, which is always within. You'll notice if you've been through a particular painful reality 87 different times with 42 different people, you're the one that was there every time. Your pain, your trauma is about you. It's about no one else but you. And if you choose to forgive, you can change it. If you're not familiar with the forgiveness process that we're speaking of, then we invite you to go to the website, www.whyagain.com. www.whyagain.com, and on the right-hand side of the page, you'll see a link that says Download Worksheets. So that's where you'll find the information about forgiveness. And there are 4 links under that title, Download Worksheets. The first one is a copy of Chapter 24 from my book, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? It's actually a new chapter that I've written. And the second one is, and that will explain the forgiveness process. What's it all about, Alfie? That will explain the forgiveness process. And then the second link is a copy of the actual worksheet. Here's the how-to. Here's the step-by-step process. The third link is an awesome show that was done about 2 weeks ago by a very courageous young lady named Lynn, who called into the show and really went through some very powerful processing and did a worksheet. And in doing that worksheet, changed some of the realities in her mind, got rid of some deep, deep hostilities and fears. I mean, to the point of got rid of the desire to shoot somebody. Pretty powerful stuff when you can do that. And so that's our process of forgiveness. Download it. Listen to the show. There's another link right under that, a fourth link. And that's another show where we did another worksheet with someone that was pretty powerful and shows how the mind tends to try to avoid and how to get back on track. So, Jeanie, are there any callers, anything in the chat room to be aware of? Dr. Tim with us today?
Dr. Tim is on, and there's actually, it was an email sent to me, and it's actually by Miss Lynn, the same one you were just talking about. I'm going to be working with her tomorrow. And she says, could it be that so-called enlightenment, and she has that in quotes, has nothing to do with what we project it is, no more or less than just collapsing the carbon-based memory. Everything changes while everything remains as it is, or always was. Is that true? And then we do have a caller, but if you'll answer Lynn's question there first. Michael, are you on there? If
I am,
you can hear me. Oh, okay.
I'm there.
You just heard it. Okay, you just heard. Did you hear me?
I have my mute button on. Excuse me.
Okay. If you could address her question first, and then we do have a caller on the line.
Sure. There's a book out there called Chop Wood and Carry Water, and it answers the question, what do you do before enlightenment? You chop wood and you carry water. What do you do after enlightenment? You chop wood and you carry water. Yes, life goes on the same way. However, life goes on from a perspective of a human being's life instead of a non-human life. What do I mean by a human life compared to a non-human life? A non-human life is a life that's based in hostility and fear. A human life is a life that is based in the active presence of love. Guess what we're designed for? All you have to do is hold a newborn child to know exactly what a human life is. And that's what you and I are absolutely designed for. And so,
Michael, you just disappeared.
Say again?
You disappeared there for about a half of the sentence.
Oh, okay. So when we choose to forgive, we remove those things that lock us into a non-human life, into hostility and fear, and we have the opportunity to actually claim our humanness, the truth about who we are and function as humans. And that's the difference, the only difference in enlightenment. And it's the place from which you create your life. And as you create your life from being, instead of from non-being, instead of from hostility and fear, the whole game is different. Everything in your physiology is different. Your chemistry is different. Your health is different. Your relationships are different. Your cash flow it changes everything. One of the workshops consciously where we look into what's behind this thing called creation and what's our part in it. So that would be my thought on it. Does that sound like it addresses the question?
Well, she just sent it by email, so I won't get she's not in the chat room, so I won't get a response on that one. But we do have another question that was emailed to me, but we have a caller first. So let's get the caller first.
Caller, welcome.
Okay,
well,
area code. Go for it,
Nene.
754. Hi, Nene.
Hi, hi.
Hey there, young lady.
Yes.
How do you be today?
Great. Really, Jeanie, thanks. That website is so complete. There's so much material. And I've been checking it out and browsing. I found a lot of support material about, for the still point breathing, how to open and how to, complete the process, the step-by-step, very nicely.
Good.
So that's one thing. Yeah, great job. I mean, there's so much in that website. And also, I wanted to share about a mind shifter, about the power of a mind shifter. Last week, I had in my thoughts that I needed to do a mind shifter again about self-love. And so I went ahead and did again the one that is in the evaluation. that says that everybody and myself approve and love my loving being. I did that, and the minute I finished writing the Mind Shifter, I got connected to a very deep sadness. And I wrote, and then it was me connected me when my mother lost her father when she was 4 years old. And, well, the Mind Shifter took me there and understanding that she felt so isolated and so lonely and so lack of being loved or approved. And somehow I was able to connect to that energy. So I wrote my Mind Shifter for an hour and 15 minutes, and I did like 3 very good worksheets after that. So what caught my attention is that even though I had done my Mind Shifter months before during the intensive, still there were some information in my brain, in my unconscious about self-love. So that opened deeper a level, and I had it cleansing deeper.
That's awesome, Renee. And what you're going to find is one of these cycles that you do, and you forgive that which is not your original being, is that you're going to get a full-blown experience in your physiology of the active presence of love. Every cell in your structure is going to experience that.
Mhm. Yes. So. Yeah.
You to move to that and to live there, because that's where we're just to live. That's what the human life is living in that awesome active presence of love, 24/7, 365.
Yeah. Yes, that's what it is. And it was interesting that it was the same Mind Shifter, but it fired like in a deeper generational level. So I understood why, my relationship with men, it's so needy, or was so needy, because it was an accumulation of what my mother felt when she lost her daddy at such an early age.
Yeah.
Plus, et cetera, I'm from there back. But I was really happy about that. I'm very happy, very powerful. I noticed that I'm very powerful now each time I do a management exercise. Very powerful.
Awesome, and I wish I could be there for that first workshop you're going to do at En Familia, even though it's going to be in Spanish and I wouldn't understand a word. I would love to be there to just watch the energy of those people as last time when you taught it, how they received it, and the impact that you were having. So,
thank you.
I had
working on that.
Cool. That's fabulous.
Yep. Okay.
All right. You got the flyer I sent you?
Yes, thank you. And I did get your flyer. Thank you very much. And then from now on, it's just about, talking to Rocio and setting the date. That's it.
Cool. And I sent, the PDF you can't edit, and the program I do flyers in, it won't work to send it to you because you don't have that program. But I think, Jeanie, did you get the email that I sent? And can you send her a flyer in a Word format that she can edit?
I did not get an email. Which flyer do you need me to send? And I'll definitely do that. But
okay, I had sent a copy of the.
I'm gonna write it in Spanish and send it to Jeanie and see if Jeanie can magically and all those beautiful talents she has.
Well, I think the best thing would be for Jeanie to send you a Word document with the single Why Again flyer. Why is this happening to me again flyer? And then you can copy out of that one I sent you and paste it. I sent a copy. I sent it to both of you. A flyer that I sent to Renee. She was looking for one to edit, and I didn't have a Word flyer for the Y workshop.
Okay,
So,
I'll do it.
anyway, I'll leave it to you guys
Great.
to communicate about that. All right, Nene, thank you for your call. We hold you in a blessing and look forward to hearing about that first workshop that you do in Familia.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Blessings. Bye-bye. So any other callers or anything? You said you had another email, Jeanie?
Yes, and it's a person who has an issue with their spouse and infidelity, and they're trying to forgive the spouse and the person that they had an affair with, and trying to forgive them, but feeling like the person that they had the affair with was in a cult, and that they had cast a spell over them or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, my first thought would be, please don't ever forgive them. Neither your spouse nor the person they had the affair with. Never forgive them. That would be a big mistake. If you choose to pardon them because their behavior was off base, that would be, of course, up to you. However, forgiving them is something that our culture teaches us we're supposed to do, but the process they teach us of letting somebody else off the hook for what's going on inside of us.
Michael, there's a lot of wind noise.
Okay. The wind just kicked up here. I'm in the windy city of Chicago. I'll step inside. I was sitting out in this beautiful green backyard, just enjoying the sunshine, but I'll step inside.
Yeah, the wind's hitting your microphone and is louder than you're speaking. Okay, thank you.
So the suggestion would be not to forgive that person, not in the next million years, but rather go to the website, www.whyagain.com, and do some work around forgiveness, which is how you go inside yourself and deal with what's happening inside of you. If you listen to that third link on the website under download worksheets, it will walk you through the forgiveness process, and you'll see that it's totally different from what the world has taught. And so that's what I would suggest to do is go listen to that and then get the worksheet, download the worksheet, and start to do actual forgiveness work. Two different things that we're talking about. You know, Karl Marx says you want to destroy a culture, you change the meaning of its words. We've had the word forgive, you present it as, I let you off the hook for what's happening inside of me. I offer that has absolutely nothing to do with forgiveness. Forgiveness is how you go inside yourself and change what's happening in you. And so when you forgive, everything begins to change. And it's not about anybody else but you. When you pardon, let somebody off the hook, that's a different story. And, you know, pardon as you choose or as you choose not to. But forgiveness is something different. And what we're looking to do is to invite people into a conversation about changing what goes on inside themselves rather than letting other people off the hook for what's going on inside themselves. So if you happen to be available and you want to call in and process a little bit around that and talk about that, I'd be delighted to chat with you about it. Our calling number is 646-200-4169. 646-200-4169 is the number to call in, and let's have a conversation about that, because it's certainly a major issue, and the little bit that I've said about actual forgiveness may not, if you haven't been engaged in it, may not make much sense, and so perhaps some direct personal support might be useful in actually forgiving and actually changing that situation from within you. So we invite a call. We'd love to hear from you.
And I typed in the number just as you were giving it and asked them to call in as well. They're doing a private chat, and I hope that this person's been listening, because the whole time you were addressing the issue, they've been typing back to me, you know, I pray for him, I can't forgive him, I'm, you know, in the Mideast, and I'm scared for my safety, and, you know, all of this. And they just now said, don't tell it on the air. A little late. Anyway, so they may not even be listening.
Well, we haven't mentioned any names. It could be any one of a million people anywhere in the world.
Right.
So
Right.
Let's let go of all the identifiers and we'll hold the space.
So anyway, hopefully that they really heard what you're saying, that it's not forgiving the other person or letting them off the hook, because they were writing back at the same time you were explaining that they couldn't forgive them and everything. So, it's like I typed in there a couple times, please listen. And so if you missed part of that, because, I find it a challenge to listen and type two different conversations, and maybe you've got a handle on that and that's not an issue for you. So, but you can always go back to the archives. The shows are all on our website. If you click on MindShifters Radio, and then the archives are all there. So it's totally different meaning. And then also you might address, because it sounds like they're stuck on the being under a spell and voodoo being involved in all of that. And I believe that you can buy into it and take that on, but nobody can put a spell on you and cause anything to happen within you. Is that true, Michael?
Well, if the only way that someone can impact your physiology and your mind, your emotions in any way, shape, or form is if you have a matching energy. So if I have terror and fear, and I've been taught that, say, somebody is an authority that can do something like that to me, through my terror and fear, and they're communicating that, it can actually kill somebody. In fact, I worked with a medical doctor who's a surgeon, and he often goes to third world countries and does cleft palate surgeries. And he shared with me how he had gone to Africa several years ago before he became involved in this work. And in the clinic they were in, they were doing cleft palate surgeries in some remote place in Africa. They brought a man in who had been condemned by the witch doctor to die. And the person who was in charge of the clinic said, well, we'll just put him over in the corner and, we'll bury him tomorrow. And this guy was appalled. He's like, what are you talking about? You'll bury him tomorrow. Said, we've done autopsies on these people. Once the witch doctor condemns them to death, we don't know why they die, but this man is going to die. And so he had started to study this work and started to understand how the human mind works and how the human mind produces chemistry in the cell and can create some crazy stuff going on inside of us. For instance, there's a fellow named Swami Rama. They took him into the laboratory at Duke University, and they did drew a circle on the back of his hand and did a cell biopsy, and he's got perfectly healthy cells. They give him 30 minutes to meditate, and 30 minutes later they did the same cell biopsy in their cancer cells. They give him another 30 minutes to meditate, and 30 minutes later, another cell biopsy, and they're perfectly healthy cells again. These cells change according to what happens in the mind. So if one has faith in, if one believes in a certain belief, they can produce that result. You put somebody into a hypnotic state, and you tell them that the piece of ice that you're placing in their hand, in their palm, is a red-hot coal, and their hand will blister and burn, because that's what controls chemistry, or so-called chemistry. So once you recognize how that works, what's happening with the witch doctor? Well, the witch doctor has trained these people very well. Hey, if you ever get on the wrong side of me and I condemn you to death, you're going to die. And if you believe that and you get the witch doctor's curse, that literal energy can be implanted and that person will die. Now, this fellow shared with me, he was on another junket to Africa, and a similar situation. They bring a man in who's been condemned by the witch doctor, and he immediately goes to work and tells this man that he has more powerful medicine than the witch doctor, and that his medicine will save his life. And he gets somebody to go into the back room, into their chemical store, and gets a couple of chemicals that will do absolutely nothing to anything, except they bubble and boil, and they look pretty active and like something's really going on there. And He mixes these chemicals, tastes terrible, insists you drink it, and all the while he's telling you through an interpreter that this is more powerful medicine than medicine man, and it will save their lives. It was the first time that they'd seen someone who didn't die as a result of the witch doctor's curse. He changed his mind. If you remember, you go back to Yeshua, there's a story about a woman who has a 12-year issue of blood, a 12-year problem with bleeding. And she knows, and here's the power of faith, she knows that if she can just touch what they call the hem of his garment, that is, get into his energy field, that his power will support her in healing. That's what she knows. And she gets into his field, she touches her, which, in the Middle East at that time, you didn't touch a man you didn't know, and you especially didn't touch a holy man. And Yeshua senses the shift in energy, and he says, who touched me? Of course, Peter's like, hey, everybody's touched you. What are you talking about? Who touched you? Everybody's been touching. Look at he's strong. And he says, no, but this one was different. And he says, the Greek's translated as, I perceive that virtue has gone out from me. But what he really was saying is, there's been an energetic shift here. And finally, this woman comes forward and says, I was the one who touched you. And instantly, this issue of blood, this 12-year-old female disease, disappeared. Now, you'll notice that he doesn't say, look at me, the hero, look what I did for you. What does he say? He says, your faith made you whole. The fact that you believe touching my field would empower you to heal this 12-year-old disease is what changed your life, is what healed you. And so hold on to the belief in the witch doctor, the person who cast the spell that you're speaking of, and you can produce. If you have faith in that, you can produce some pretty horrific effects, but they can't produce anything. It's going to be your belief in that. So I'd suggest doing some forgiveness work around the belief in someone else being able to have power over you and cast spells. I don't know, how much of a part of your culture that is, but if it is, it's time to get rid of it. It's a lie. Only your mind energy can impact you. But if somebody can trick you into believing that they have the power, guess what? They're going to seem to have the power, and they're going to be able to impact you. That would be my input on it. Dr. Tim, welcome to the show, and thank you for this awesome place to stay here in Chicago. I'm actually getting ready to put together some of those tomatoes from out of the backyard into an awesome tomato sandwich, and I thank you for growing the tomatoes and hosting me here in Chicago. And for anybody who is in the Chicago area, come and join us.
Well, you're entirely welcome. Thank you for being there. We are thrilled to have you, and the positive comments just keep flooding in about the talk. There's another post on Facebook about your fabulous presentation. I forget the exact wording, but it was something about fabulous material flawlessly presented. So congratulations on rave reviews that keep coming in. All kinds of people have all kinds of energy moving and shifting. I've seen several people this morning that are in the process. I myself had a very powerful process this morning that left me with more tears than I've had in months and months. I had my weekly meeting with Dr. Sherry and tapped into some changes that went on in me at age 2 and 4, believing that it wasn't possible to stay in that space of love and still be loved by my family. So it's been a very, very powerful experience having you here and doing this work, and I thank you again for being here.
Delighted. That's awesome. I'm delighted to hear that. And for anybody that wants to join us, we're here up on the north side of Chicago, little town of Cary, Illinois, at a place called the Center for Spiritual Evolution. And we're presenting tonight the Circle of Life and how to play it. Tomorrow night, we'll present Codependence to Interdependence. Friday night, we'll present Naturopathic Keys to Health. They're all free open workshops. If you jump on www.whyagain.com, on the right-hand side, you'll see a link. for travel workshops. Just click on that, and you'll find our schedule. We'd be delighted to have you join us. And the energy is moving here. This group is so excited. There's just shift upon shift upon shift happening. So,
and we got someone last night to make the commitment to start a new group at that church, a MindShifters group. And so that will be starting on the Tuesday after Labor Day. And it'll run from 6:30 to 9 or thereabouts. And you'll be, don't you have a spot on the website where active MindShifters groups are listed?
Yes. So if you'll send me the information, I will get it on there.
Okay.
I sent you the information this morning with the request to make up a flyer for that. And so it should be in your inbox, sweetie.
Okay. I haven't had time to look at email today.
Sure. That's cool.
And then I got another email from somebody who was at one of the workshops on Sunday, and they were doing worksheets and hit some real powerful emotional material, and they wrote a nice email thanking me for having you here because it facilitated that shift in them. And things are bubbling away.
And we have another caller.
Well, it's my honor and my privilege to be here, and I look forward to watching what kind of shifts are going to happen. We'll ask the question tonight. By this stage, most everybody that's been there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, by tonight, they're going to be noticing physical differences in the body. There are going to be physical shifts going on as well as emotional as well as mental. So it'll be fun to just see how the response is tonight. See you about caller, Jeanie. Let's listen.
Yes. Area code 541. You're on the air. Who do we have?
This is Julie.
Hi.
Hi. There might be another 541. Hi. I told another person. Yeah, Julia. Is she waiting to talk?
No, you're in.
Well, yeah. Well, anyway, I'll go first since you got me. Hi. So first of all, I just wanted to tell you I listened to the sample worksheet that you have on the website of the lady named Lynn who worked through with you, and it was awesome. I loved it. I got a lot out of it. I got a lot out of it. I was listening while I was driving. So, but I was just listening to your witch doctor's dissertation here, and the idea came to me, energetic devotion to our beliefs. And so when we give our energy and our devotion, we're fueling our beliefs, and we're going to get exactly what we fear or are hostile towards or loving towards through our whichever filter we choose, right? So I've been perplexed by lots of things like the laws that we have to live under and how they're getting more and more complex, and I feel victimized by politicians and the legal system and how hard it is for me to sell my house because the economy is so bad and all that blah, blah, blah. And so if I give devotion to all of that and fear that it's bigger than me and I can't handle it, then that's what I get. But if I shift into how powerful and loving I really am, then I can see right through it all. And that it really has no power over me unless I want to give that devotion, that energetic devotion to those witch doctors that would love to do me in, you know, or who knows what they'd love to do. But it's just an exercise. I'm overcoming that.
So, Julie, first off, did you come up with that energetic devotion directly?
Yeah, just when I was
something you read somewhere?
To you now. Yes.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Julie tapping into her direct intuition, direct from source. That's an awesome piece of information. Is it copyrighted? Can I use it?
You can use it. Yeah.
Cool. Fabulous.
Yeah.
I will.
I love when stuff like that comes. It's so great when those insights come, and I just feel lifted and powerful, and
and unalone because I'm accompanied by the correct thinking, that loves me, designed the way I am.
Well, you're right on, and that type of insight comes from being out of your mind. And you're getting that directly, and you hit it right on the head. And as I shared with you the other day when we were talking about your house, we have a woman in Anderson, Indiana, who, of course, is in the same society, the same circumstances, only a town that is poorer than one that you're in, and therefore less capable in these situations to sell a house. And she put it on the market herself, and in a week sold her house, and sold it not only for what she originally paid for it, but as opposed to most everybody, she made a profit on it in this economy. So, she had energetic devotion to the truth of her being, and I support you having that too. And the woman in the Middle East who's talking about her husband cheating on her, I support you changing your energetic devotion. It's a great way to say it. I'm going to use that from now on.
Yeah.
I support you changing your energetic devotion, young lady, from, this person has the power to do spells on me, to the energetic devotion of you are covered in all ways by the active presence of the love of God. And in that,
Michael,
nobody... Yeah.
Yeah. Also, speaking of her and the method that you told me that kind of worked for her, I was thinking about that all day. And, if I give energetic devotion to a saint or a spirit or God or a religion, anything that I think will work for me, it lifts me to an out-of-the-mind level, and I'm not blocking or being a barrier to the flow coming to me. So it's not really about the ritual. It's not about whatever you do, whatever dance with whatever saint or whatever. It's just that I'm unlocking my barrier and giving devotion to the will of God.
Right. And a ritual can be a very powerful way to do that. If your mind, generally, if one lives in a mind that's generally running all over the place, up, down, and back and forth, a ritual is a tool that can be used to take one into that higher connection space. So it can be very useful.
Right. So one more thing. In listening to the worksheet sample of Lynn, it was so inspiring on so many levels, but we got to the end, and I was trying to feel that smile come into me and into my frontal lobe and just take over the clearing process of the unwanted corrupt data. And that was kind of new information to me, or spoken in a new way. And I noticed that I wasn't able to smile right away, but I at least knew that was the direction to go in. And so I just waited for it to become more real, and I had my willingness for it to come into me. And I let go after a while because I was still having whatever the unconscious resistance was. And I just want to say, this morning I woke up, and it was so amazing. All I wanted to do was sit there and breathe. I just wanted to consciously breathe. Like, I don't know what processing went on overnight, but I said it was welcome, and it did what it did. And so I love that, and just letting you know.
Well, that's absolutely awesome, Julie, and it sounds like you are absolutely moving in the direction of exactly what the intention in September is about, is opening that intuition and living there and getting your guidance direct rather than going from your mind, which holds all the generational traumas and all the stuff from your past. So that's really awesome. I congratulate you on that work you're doing. That's the shift. The first question in the show, I don't know if you're wrong, but the first question was about, what do you do before enlightenment? What do you do after enlightenment? What does it look like? You're describing it perfectly, and it sounds like you're working for and gathering that enlightenment one step at a time and experiencing its fruit. So congratulations.
And I'm sharing this for the other listeners and people who are doing this work too, because the object of my attention that I focused on while I was driving and listening to the sample worksheet was a court case that I have to show up for. It's actually against me. I'm a small claims thing where I didn't do everything perfectly for my renter, and she thinks she's going to, I guess, win. And so I've been alleviating the grievances within myself as I can, and the closer the court date comes, the more I know I really need to get in there and clear it. And so that clearing has started, and I'm getting to the point where I can hold her in a whole nother light, and it doesn't even have to be about me analyzing why she did it, even though I have all this information of fear and hostility and love and all the different filters and all the pain that she probably has going on in the contents of her mind. I don't want to use that as any form of attack on her. I just simply want to get to the place of having compassion for both her and myself, and really just releasing it. And then I'm holding my breath because I'm talking, but I feel assured that it's going to clear. And I'm also okay with it clearing as far as it can this go around in my unconsciousness. I let go of a lot of goals with regard to what I thought the outcome should be. So I think that's why I woke up breathing this morning, and I feel alive anyway.
That's awesome. And, Lynn is out there, and she was actually on the show yesterday, and she said she was going to call you. So she'll probably be connecting with you if she hasn't yet.
Oh, great. Great.
Yeah, she's in Oregon.
She is. Oh,
somebody
good.
Who was at it was somebody who was at the workshops there that introduced her to the worksheet. So she's there in Ashland.
Oh, you're kidding. Great. Okay. I'd love to talk to her. Well, thank you. I'll go now. I've taken enough time, but thank you so much on every level. Thank you.
Julie?
Yes?
Julia is on the switchboard, but she has not hit that she wants to ask a question. Did she want me to turn her on so she could talk? Do you know?
I don't know. I told her how to do it, but tell her to press number 1, or you can check in with her if you like.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Thank you. I'm going to listen now.
Bye. Okay.
Blessings. Nice work.
Thank you.
Okay, so shall we see if Miss Julia wants to speak?
Yes, that would be awesome. I've actually had Miss Julia on my mind for about 2 weeks to call her, and I just haven't done it because we've been running around and there's been so much going on there. Miss Julia,
oh
how are you?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay, fine. I didn't know. I'm not used to doing this. It seems like it's been a long time. I wonder why you've had me on your mind for about 2 weeks. I'll tell you in a moment, but I want to know what you're going to say.
I didn't have any reason for it, just that you were there, and I knew I was supposed to call you, and that was it.
Oh, wow. And I'm so glad that I talked with Julie and then learned that this was happening in a few minutes and was able to get on, because I've been going through something that I haven't gone through in a long, long time. I was one of the judges for the 4th of July parade here, along with another young man from the Chamber of Commerce, whom I trusted totally. And one day I had a phone call from a woman who said that she wanted to come up to my house. She supposedly was working and was associated with the same man who was then out of town. Right. And I said, well, sure, I don't know quite what, we're going to do. And anyway, it ended up that she was pumping me for information or doing something, it seemed. It didn't seem negative at the time. Because she was delightful, and we talked, and that happened 2 times. And then I found out with his co-worker, because he was not present, that there are no women that work for him. I thought that they were both workers in his printing, shop, and that they were not. So that means from the outside. And then I happened to come up to this place of business at just the very moment that someone who has become an enemy, who is defending his wife, who did some terrible prosthetic dental work on me, and I was trying to get her to pay for some of the expenses that I had with the hospitals and doctors that happened because of this, and they refused to pay and refused to do anything. And he was there with the owner that I had trusted, and then he says in front of me, well, once he saw me, he was, like, and would you try to handle her or something? But it was like I had totally given myself away because I trusted the man who owned the shop, and that, but the whole thing was a setup. That means that he was being bought off by this guy who was trying to put me down and the two women accomplices.
So Julia, how can we support you with? What would
can you speak up a little bit? I can't hear you hardly.
How can we support you? What kind of support would you like with this?
Well, certainly to remind me of all the things that I should be doing. I guess you should be doing more of those lessons every day for sure. And the way that you could support me is just giving me the energy to be all of who I am, to be totally cognizant in every moment and to be aware and to, to be involved in that which is, not to be angry in such a way that it's going to be destructive to me. Maybe.
So my highest thought for you then, Julie, would be that, you've got the DVDs. I'd suggest that you sit down and watch Why Is This Happening to Me Again on the DVD and do a worksheet around that anger. Because remember, when anger is vibrating in your mind is using corrupt data, and your mind is working out of the past rather than being in the present. And so you remember when Julie, just a few minutes ago, was talking about how, she had anger, she had fear around the situation, but she was able to step outside of that and tap into her being. And the best way I know to do that is through that reality management worksheet. So I'd suggest that you watch Why Is This Happening to Me Again? Remind yourself of all the principles there and do some forgiveness of that anger. That would be the first order in business. Otherwise, you'd be like the person who's trying to take the speck out of their brother's eye while they have a beam in their own. So you want to do your work first before you start trying to do any action or activity toward this whole situation. That would be my highest thought for you.
And I'm not even sure that I would do anything toward the others at all, except that in my own mind and that they cannot touch me, not touch my real self. Do you know what I mean?
But
and that's their challenge, except as they may be using it in some way that I may have to defend myself, then yes.
So, Julia, notice that your conversation's all about them. And what I'm inviting you to do is to come back and recognize you have anger, and you need to move this anger out. That's the first order of business in your work. And if you go to the website, on the www.whyagain.com, on the right-hand side, there's a link that says Download Worksheets. Look down that list, and the fourth link is a worksheet where we guide a man through who is really in upset, but is having conversations about somebody else. And when we finally get him back to, there's nothing to say about them, what they did, who they did, what they, did they con you, did they bang up on you, did they take it? Nothing about that. When he gets past his conversation about them, all of a sudden he realizes where his healing is. And so that would be the first order of business I would offer.
Wait, I lost you a little bit in words. Gets past? What did you say after once he gets past that thing of putting it out there?
Yes. Once he got past talking about them, he gets to see, as he does the forgiveness work, that the problem that's first and foremost for him to deal with is the one going on inside himself. And I'd offer that first and foremost, the problem you want to deal with here is your anger, is to let go of that. Now, most people would say, it's justified to be angry. Well, if you want to be in a state of reduced intelligence, go for the anger. But if you want your whole being available to you, then that's the first order of business. So please, watch the video of Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And then listen to the fourth download on the website under Download Worksheets. And I think if you do some worksheets, you'll find some just
I've got your worksheets out here. I've already made a lot of copies of them. I'm ready to do that.
Okay, cool. And I'm sure Julie will be there to help you.
Yes. Oh, yes, for sure. It was like a miracle that we were on there together. I just happened to call her, and she said, "Yeah, they're right here." So that's happened with us before in different ways.
Cool.
But I think it's remarkable, and I think it's wonderful to be talking with you. And it's at the same time that all the worksheets just, piled back up here that I had. So anyway,
we support you and hold the space. And if there are any other questions as you're doing those worksheets, we're on every day, Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. Yes, I was listening regularly at the time, and then it got really hectic here. Monday through Friday, from what time to what time?
Whatever time it is out there, it's 11 till 12. Yeah, 11 till noon.
Okay.
All right, Judy, thank you for all the things. We hold the space of love for you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
So, Jeanie, any other conversation in the chat room or anybody on the phone?
We do have another caller. So area code 954. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Hello.
Yes. Hi.
Hey, Jeanie. This is Salvador from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Salvador. Welcome.
Yes. Hi there. Hi, Michael.
Hey, welcome to the show, Salvador. I couldn't answer your call because I was on the show. You called in my cell phone, but delight to hear your voice.
I was meaning to call here. It was a mistake on my dialing. So
okay.
That was the purpose to reach here. And I've been listening to the show, and it's just like, as you said, I was about to call you earlier, and then you just said that you was meaning to call this lady. Well, I wanted to tell you the same. I've been meaning to call you for a while. It's like there's no particular reason. You are just present, and appreciation for all the blessing that I received through both of you, and I want to acknowledge, yes, how much it has been helping me, or the commitment work in my relationship, and besides the forgiveness process that I've done, and I do once in a while when I feel some blockages, I use it. So it's just to make myself present and support this energy that you are spreading, and share my love with you.
Fabulous. Well, I accept the presence of your love, and I send it back to you. One of the things you might want to do is connect with Nene. You remember Nene from the workshops we did down there?
Yeah.
She's getting ready to do her first Why Is This Happening to Me Again workshop in Spanish at a place called En Familia in Homestead. So you might want to connect with her and perhaps participate and be of some support.
Sounds good. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to give her a call and see what I can do to support her. Sure.
Cool. Well, any questions or anything we can support you with in your work there?
I guess not really. It's mostly I feel recharged by hearing and all these energies is ongoing, and you hold this baton, and I just get fulfilled from just listening the show. And so, and personally at this moment, I guess the caller earlier was mentioning the fact that we create our reality. It's when we let us get out of our out of center, and we engage into the outer world, and for God to create the sacredness of our own space, we start to see the struggle, and it was like a good reminder. I can churn when I see scarcity, when I see struggle, to not buy into that. So I guess this is still a topic I need to master. And I don't know if
we join you in becoming a master of it. That's awesome.
Yes.
And of course, we're going to be down there in January, so we'll see you then.
Yeah, I
all
look
things moving forward.
Sure. I think we have some plans to spend more time in Mexico, but I'm sure at the beginning of the year we will still be around here, and I look forward to spend some time together.
Cool. Fabulous. All right, we love you.
Hey, me too. Big hug and love for both of you and your work. Thanks.
Okay. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Michael?
Yes.
There's not another caller, but there's a private conversation that came across, and if I know we're down to like 4 minutes, so we may have to carry this over to tomorrow, but if you could address, they said that they had a relationship and that there had been a conversation, and now the person's saying that the conversation never happened, and they were like, well, you know, they had tried 3 or 4 times to get them to actually hear, and that they even reminded them of, you know, like, we discussed this and we discussed that, and that it's as if the conversation never happened. And they remember you saying something about false reality coming out when a person is swallowed up in hostility or fear. And would it be accurate to say, it says, would it be accurate to say that I should go to great lengths to not find myself with someone who does not appreciate the problems of buying into their fears and the fact that they are unfolding into the bigger picture of things? So I'm not real sure about that question. Would it be accurate to say?
I think I got it.
Okay.
I think I got it. And, you know, what I hear there is, should I separate? And my highest thought would be, the only thing that would cause you to separate is that there's something in you that this person's thinking or this person's situation brings up. And so separating from them will have the effect of you'll find it easier to hide from yourself that in you which they're resonating. But destroying the relationship by separating over that in you which is causing you pain isn't going to benefit you or them. If you have some sort of trauma or pain around what they say, what they do, that's your work to do. I'd suggest that you do that piece of work. Now, beyond that, of course, if you say, well, you know, they live in a way that I don't choose to live, well, you have every right to say, okay, well, then I'm going to move on. But if you do decide to move on, I would suggest that you make sure that you keep working and cleaning up that issue in yourself, or else you'll end up having to create it all over again with somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else. So that would be my highest thought. Before running away, get some work done. Do some of your own inner work. When they deny that a conversation ever happened, what does that bring up for you? Well, let's say, as an example, seeing how we're not on the phone, and maybe we could have a conversation about this tomorrow. You could call into the show. But as an example, maybe I go into frustration because I think they don't believe me. So if I have frustration about not being believed, that's my forgiveness work. It's my frustration. It takes me out of the state of my original being. It's not their behavior. And so what I can't hold and stay connected with for is about me. It's not about them. And so here's your opportunity to clean that one up in you. And then, you know, assuming you're not in some kind of physical danger, and then if you choose, well, you know, they choose to live a way that they choose to live and I choose to live differently, you know, you have every right to say, I choose to live differently. Pick up the one. But make sure you do your work around it. Otherwise, you'll tend to have to go back and recreate it with someone else. You know, the universe is our feedback mechanism. It's here to teach us what we're holding that does not belong in our human forms and to support us in forgetting that. And when you do, you get to create the best year yet of your eternal life. Have a blessed day. Come, bring somebody to the show with your mom. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to MindShifters Radio with the For-giveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie, who present the internal Ar-amaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeanie are here every Monday through Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.